The table does not lie. After 22 rounds of the Aviva Premiership, Exeter have been the best team in the land, and Newcastle have upset the status quo as the rising force. What is yet to be seen is whether Saracens can peak at the right time and be the most obvious threat to the Chiefs' hopes of defending their title. That may hinge on whether they will be able to pick Billy Vunipola, who is such a vital asset for club and country. Yet, even if England's giant number 8 is fit to feature in the playoffs, Rob Baxter's Devonians are favourites to be champions again. They will expect to see off Newcastle in their semi-final at Sandy Park, but the runaway club of the season will head south from Tyneside convinced that they have the firepower to cause a shock. With the danger posed by Viraniki Goneva and Sinity out wide for the Falcons, Exeter will not be complacent. Saracens should beat Wasps in Barnet. It is no foregone conclusion. Danny Cipriani will be hell-bent on ensuring that his sign-off from Wasps comes at Twickenham, not at Allianz Park. If the Wasps pack provide a platform, the sorcerer playmaker, who, by rights, should be handed an England recall this week, will set about unleashing the likes of Willie LaRue and Christian Wade to devastating effect. But if Dai Young's side fail to sort out their defensive lapses, all hope is lost. The final on May 26 will cap a season which has been absorbing and erratic. The balance of power has fluctuated endlessly. Leicester, Bath, Gloucester and Sale all blew molten hot then ice cold. These clubs formed a mid-table cluster with its own revolving hierarchy right to the end. Further down, reputations have been shredded. Recent champions Northampton and Harlequins finished 9th and 10th respectively. That slump far below minimum expectations explains why the Saints have hired a new director of rugby and why Quins are in the market for one. The demise of Jim Mallender in the East Midlands and John Kingston in southwest London was one of the subplots of a turbulent campaign. Professional rugby is acquiring football's hire and fire tendency. Nick Kennedy was crudely demoted by London Irish and, understandably, chose to leave. While there has been increasing job insecurity, there have been other alarming trends. Many clubs are feeling the financial pinch as the domestic game struggles to move away from an over-reliance on wealthy benefactors, while the sport's physical toll was highlighted by the sad, career-ending injury suffered by Northampton's Wallaby centre, Rob Horne. Try of the season, Billy 12 trees for Gloucester against Worcester at Kingsholm, spectacularly engineered by the flying Henry Trinder on a long-range break. It was a sublime, slick demonstration of attacking brilliance. Best match, Harlequins beating Saracens 20-19 at the Stoop in December when England scrum half Danny Kerr conjured a stunning comeback win for the hosts by creating 2 late tries for Charlie Webster and Tim Visser. Best ones who got away, Viraniki Goneva was allowed to leave Leicester to join Newcastle and return to haunt the Tigers at Welford Road, denying them a playoff place. Leicester signed Gloucester's Sion Kalamafoni and the number 8 was their player of the season. Fondest farewells, Matt Banahan ended his 12-year stint as a Bath hero with a hat-trick. Ben Foden called time on his Northampton career but his next stop is unclear. Saracens hooker Shock Brits retired as the greatest Premiership import ever. Worst ordeals, every time Northampton faced Saracens this season it was carnage. In the league, the Saints were thrashed at Twickenham 55-24 on day 1 and 7 months later were crushed 63-13 at home. A record defeat. Best celebration, Goneva wanted to mark the occasion in fitting fashion when Newcastle played Northampton at St James Park. He worked on his Alan Shearer salute in training and then showcased it to the crowd after he touched down. Damp squib, Premiership rugby, desperate to tap into a new market in the USA, have been far from convincing. Newcastle met Saracens in Philadelphia and, officially, drew just 6,271 fans, a generous figure. It was a PR flop. Top tackle, when Dan Robson burst down the left wing for Wasps at Welford Road, a try seemed inevitable. Tigers' Matthew Tate had other ideas, producing a stupendous cover tackle to prevent what would have been a decisive try. Coach of the season, no contest. Dean Richards. Rob Baxter is doing a fine job at Exeter but the Chiefs are already champions. Richards has turned Newcastle into title contenders and is now being touted for the England job. Best new import, Springbok scrum half de Klerk has been Sale's heartbeat all season. He has started every match and been hugely influential, scoring tries, kicking goals and generally wreaking havoc. He may soon add to his test caps tally. Worst kits, some of the alternative strips worn by clubs are breathtakingly bad but the grey and green hoops sported by Newcastle and Northampton's luminous green kit are the pick of the bunch for this unwanted prize. Biggest letdown, Harlequins. Until their last day defiance against Exeter, they had stopped playing for a month or two. Given the caliber of their players, this hints at grave problems. Man of Steel, Saracens have had their ups and downs but Captain Brad Barrett has been an inspiration. His commitment was exemplified when he broke a cheekbone, had a metal plate inserted and played the next weekend. Best commentary soundbites. On BT Sport, Alistair Iken likened Tigers prop Ellis Genge to a baby rhino with a dart up its backside, while Nick Mullins hailed Trinder's magic in setting up 12 Trees' epic try for Gloucester by saying, "Henry Trinder, playing like Harry Potter." Funniest fight, when England teammates Joe Marler and James Haskell clashed at the Ricoh Arena back in September. The scuffle came after Marler had squirted water at Haskell and tore off his scrum cap. Both men were sin-binned. They hugged and made up after the game. Boardroom politics have led to unrest, with Premiership Rugby's quest to extend the domestic season prompting threats of strike action from leading players. Mercifully, that possibility has been foiled, along with the latest attempts to force through a consensus on ring-fencing the top tier. For now, the door remains open, as it should be. There are still myriad issues to address and problems to solve, but it is not a bleak picture. Not when clubs continue to sell out Twickenham, Wembley and the London Stadium, or have to fight tooth and nail for every point in an ultra-competitive league. These days, most sides are even showing a willingness to have a go, so there is style to go with the substance. But the big prize is still up for grabs, and by rights it will be going back to Devon.